Okay, so we'll begin reading from chapter 27 then. Prayers by Indra, the King of Heaven. Krishna, 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 hey. Krishna, 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 hey. Krishna, 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 Rakshamam. Krishna, 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 Pahimam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. Okay, so we're beginning from the paragraph, My dear Lord, you are the original father of this cosmic manifestation. And this is the prayer of King Indra, who's realized his mistake. He was very greedy to get the sacrifice. He was very proud that he was the king of heaven and he was getting these sacrifices. And then when the Brajabasis, they didn't offer the sacrifice to him, they gave that sacrifice to the Govardhan hill and the Brahmins and the cows. He became quite offended by that, and he, of course, created a storm, literally created a storm, and Krishna had to lift the Govardhan hill to save the Brajabasis from drowning. And then he realized his mistake and the power of Krishna. And so we read the kind of introductory prayer last week, which kind of summarized the chapter in a way, where he realized that, I'll just read this sentence again from the previous paragraph. You are taking my share of profit, and therefore I mistook your position. So this was kind of the essence of his prayer. And we'll read more about this prayer and how we can learn, because we can learn from our own mistakes, but of course we can learn from the mistakes of others as well. And Krishna has these pastimes with his dear devotees in order to teach us, just like Krishna had Arjuna fight a battle, and he had to give him an explanation, a reason to perform his duty to do that, so that we can learn from it. Okay, so we've got one reader today. If anyone else would like to volunteer, that's welcome. So at the moment we'll start with Jay Prakash Prabhu.
Okay. My dear Lord, you are the original father of this cosmic manifestation. You are the supreme spiritual master of this cosmic world. You are the original proprietor of everything. As eternal time, you are competent to chastise offenders. Within this material world, there are many fools like me who consider themselves to be the supreme Lord, or the all in all within the universe. You are so merciful that without accepting the offenses, you devise means so that their false prestige is subdued, and they can know that you and no one else are the supreme personality of Godhead.
Okay, so any thoughts or reflections on this? Questions? In these prayers, we'll find a lot of points which are made by Indra, which are similar to Krishna's teachings in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so he's having actually these realizations that everything Krishna is saying and teaching us in the Bhagavad Gita is actually fact. So this is very reassuring, because sometimes if we only read Bhagavad Gita, we don't realize that how we can connect it to Krishna's activities. Huh? So here Krishna in this pastime is showing how he is the proprietor of everything. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bhoktaram Yagyatapasham Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatmamam Shantim Uchati. So the last verse in chapter 5, Krishna says that Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasham, that all of the yagyas and all the tapas are meant for me, Krishna says. And then he says, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, which means I am the supreme controller of all the planets. Yeah. And so not only that, he is the Suridam Sarva Bhutanam. That means Suridam means the best friend of everyone. Sarva Bhutanam, of everyone. So this is a very nice point, because actually the words Suridam, best friend, Prabhupada translates as Hrida means heart. Yeah. So he is like got your best, Krishna has got your best interest at heart. That's what really a best friend means. Someone who's got your best interest at heart. Suhridam. He's very close to the heart. Yeah. Literally as well, because the super soul Krishna as Paramatma is right next to the Atma in the heart. Suridam Sarvabhutanam. Then the last line of it is Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. And Prabhupada quotes this line a lot, and he quotes this verse a lot, in fact, because by knowing this, we can always be peaceful. And Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. Those who know this about me, they have Shanti, they have peace. So Prabhupada coins this verse, peace formula. Peace formula. If you want peace in your life, I think we all need a lot of peace this past year or so, isn't it? We're looking for that peace, right? So this verse has the formula for peace, Prabhupada says. So we should know how Lord Krishna is the proprietor of all of the planets. Krishna is the supreme Lord of all lords. And we just have to go to Krishna only. We don't have to go to anyone else. And he is the enjoyer of all of our activities, all of ours. By what it means, sacrifice, what it means is when you generally do something, you're sacrificing your time or your money or your effort, or your, whatever it is. Everything that we do in life involves some form of sacrifice, isn't it? We always have to give something to take something. Yeah. But if we make that activity, if we perform that activity in a way that's pleasing to Krishna, yeah, and we're conscious, Krishna conscious that we're doing it for Krishna, because he is the enjoyer of all the activities, of all of our activities, and indeed he's the enjoyer of us. Then we'll be very peaceful. This is the principle. Yeah. So Indra's saying a similar thing here. He's saying you're the supreme spiritual master of this cosmic world. You're the original proprietor of everything. Yeah. So because we think we are the enjoyers of our activities, of our austerities, whatever hard work we do, yeah. Because we think we are the all in all, like Indra says, many fools consider themselves as the supreme. Yeah. We put ourselves in the center. So this is actually what causes disturbance rather than peace. Yeah. So we just have to inverse that thinking into that. Krishna is the enjoyer, Krishna is the controller. So Krishna is in control of everything that happens. There's a reason for it. And we don't know that Krishna is cause, his cosmic cause for why everything's happening. But it reveals itself to those who have faith in him. So this is the revelations of Indra here. Okay. So if there's any thoughts or questions, we could continue. Any more joining us now?
You are the Supreme Father, the Supreme Spiritual Master, and the Supreme King. Therefore, you have the right to chastise all living entities whenever there is any discrepancy in their behavior. The Father, the Spiritual Master, and the Supreme Executive Officer of the state are always well-wishers of their sons, their students, and the citizens respectively. As such, the well-wishers have the right to chastise their dependents. By your own desire, you appear especially on the earth in your eternal varieties of forms. You come to glorify the earthly planet and specifically to chastise people who are falsely claiming to be God. In the material world, there is a regular competition between different types of living entities to become supreme leaders of society. And after being frustrated in achieving the supreme position of leadership, foolish persons claim to be God, the supreme personality. There are many such foolish personalities in this world, like me, but in due course of time, when they come to their senses, they surrender unto you, and again engage themselves properly by rendering service unto you. And that is the purpose of your chastising persons envious of you.
Thank you. So does anyone like to share any thoughts or questions on this one? So it's mentioned there are different representatives of Krishna here, because we don't approach Krishna directly. Yeah. So who are some of those representatives? At the beginning of the paragraph.
It starts off with the Supreme Father, the Supreme Spiritual Master, and the Supreme King.
Yes. So Krishna is the Supreme Father, the Supreme Spiritual Master, Supreme King. So that we are familiar with Father, Guru, and Raja or King. Yeah. So in this world, these are the representatives of God, and along with others as well. These are the ones that are stated. Anyone who's in a position of authority is actually in a position of representing Krishna's authority. Krishna is the supreme authority. Yeah. But we see, we experience in the world these days a lot of dislike for authoritative figures, isn't it? Because there's so much abuse of power, isn't it? You know, there's so much rebellion, there's so much discord with the opinions of the authority or so-called authority. But Krishna's authority is the teachings of the Vedas. Yeah. So there's the real authority, which is in line with Vedas, which is in line with the supreme authority, and then there's the so-called authority or given authority, which is actually still a representative of Krishna. Yeah. Because believe it or not, by karma, someone has come into power, and by karma, someone is admitted under a power. Yeah, isn't it? By karma we are either in a superior position or in a subordinate position, isn't it? So we have to respect the position we're in, and sometimes it will be one of power, and we have to respect that we're in this position because of Krishna's grace, and sometimes we're in a position of subordination under some other authority, and we have to also accept that. So again, these are really nice instructions for us, I feel, isn't it? Because we feel like people don't look after us if we're under their authority, or we may feel like if we're in an authoritative position then we can do as we please. Yeah. So this is not the case, but we should understand everything in the Krishna conscious perspective, that this is all Krishna's arrangement. This is what makes Krishna the supreme controller. He doesn't control directly, but by means of karma, the modes of nature, and the material world in general, there is following his rules. Everything is following the rules of God. Any thoughts or questions on this? Of course, it's very easy to say and very difficult to practice, isn't it? It's one of those things that we have to practice, really practice and keep practicing. Huh? The second part of this paragraph I thought was interesting because, and probably this is a theme that will continue to come. Now Krishna, he's Indra is talking about how Krishna chastises foolish people. So many times when you speak to people who have an atheistic tendency, or people who are, a little bit adverse to God, then you'll find that the mentality is, why do I have to surrender to God? Why is it that God has to be the supreme? Or sometimes the notion of God is that he's when we say God is the controller, when we say God is the proprietor, the enjoyer, some people find that's quite distasteful, isn't it? Why does he have to be the enjoyer, the controller, the proprietor? Seems like if someone could really be in control, then he's going to be a very cruel kind of person, right? Because he doesn't let anyone else do what they want, right? This kind of tendency or this kind of thinking is there. So this second part of the paragraph kind of addresses that. Why? Because Indra is submitting himself. He's really submitting himself to Krishna. He's submitting himself to the control of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
It's your bedtime. Say good night. We're going to sleep soon. So Indra is actually trying to submit himself to Krishna's control, and trying to put himself in a position to, so that Krishna can enjoy the result of his work, his activities. He's supposed to be working on behalf of Krishna, providing the rains, being the king of the heavenly regions. Yeah. So it's not actually that Krishna is like this kind of, power hungry kind of God that some people think when they think of the word God, that, just this power hungry guy. How can you believe in a person like that, who goes around chastising people that don't submit to him, and right? But Indra's realized that actually, even if he is in a great position of power, just using that power to his free will is not gonna be the right thing to do. It's not gonna help him, right? It's not gonna make him feel better. He comes to his senses. He realizes that actually, if I use my power, the power given to me by Krishna, for the purpose Krishna intended, that will make me happy. That will make me peaceful. Yeah. These are just some reflections I had as we were reading. Does anyone else want to share any thoughts, questions? Lots of silence this evening. Don't be shy, please. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I just have a question. If the Indra is like a pure devotee of Krishna, right? All the demigods. So even us who are trying to be devotees, and we get tested by Maya. So why can't it just be that we are trying, or Indra or the demigods, they're devotees? Why does Maya put like a shield on them so they forget that Krishna is God? Because we're all trying to go to Krishna. It's not like we're not trying. Then why? Yeah. I don't know if I'm making sense. It's maybe a silly question, but
not at all. No, it's a good question. Is it a good question? Asking everyone. Would you like to know the answer? Okay. Yeah. What do you think is the answer? I'd like to know the answer too. I can make an attempt, but Shamrani, would you like to say something? Jai Prakash Prabhu?
I'll let
Krishna
you have.
Mataji. Shashi Mataji. Yeah, please.
So because we are all caught up in the illusion of Maya, and the illusion of life itself. And because we're so caught up in it, we're not concentrating and focusing on Krishna. And there's lots of different things that will attract our attention away from them, from Krishna, sorry. And also that we're kind of like not steadfast in remembering Krishna all the time, even though we like Smita Mataji said that we try to do that, but there's so many different things that distract us all the time, and sometimes we forget, we're so entwined in life as it is, we forget that this is actually like an illusion and we're caught up in it, and it takes our focus away.
That's a brilliant answer. Yeah. Does that make sense, Smita Mataji? Yeah.
Yes, it makes sense. If someone's doing their 16 rounds, they're doing offerings, they're doing this, that they plead to Krishna, I want to come back to Godhead. They read their Bhagavad Gita, their Srimad Bhagavatam and all that. Sometimes they will test you and they will either knock you down for 6. So either you go near Krishna or you go away from Krishna, but you are trying to go towards Krishna.
Yeah.
So my point is, why can't, I don't know.
Why is it so difficult?
Hare Krishna, I don't know, I was just reflecting on that. So do you think, I might be wrong, but do you think our karma plays the role in that too? Does that happens in the situation like
There's a question.
Yeah, no, I mean, just
Your thoughts is
kind of referring, to Smita Mataji saying about that if we're doing all the right thing, being a spiritual side, and still you feel, so is that like our past karma plays?
Yeah, there's an element of that as well. Yeah, let's address that in a moment as well. Yeah, Archana Mataji.
So I don't know. Does it take a lot of practice or long-term practice, and we trying to win our mind and trying to win Maya? Obviously, it's not easy because we live in this Mayavi world. But is it take lots of time and practice? Do you think? I'm not sure.
Yeah, another great answer. Yeah, practice makes perfect, isn't it? So we have to become perfect, but we don't become just practicing alone. We have by practice over time, then we become perfect. Yeah. So there's a difference between the practice and the perfect stage. Yeah.
But it is very difficult, as Smita Mataji said, that doesn't matter how we try, Maya keep pulling us. And obviously we live this life that we got so much responsibility, and we keep trying, and then we still have to fulfill our responsibility while we're chanting.
Yeah.
But the focusing constantly on Krishna is so difficult, I would say.
Yeah.
We're trying, yeah.
That's right. I think there are some similar strands of thought here. Let's see, anyone else is going to add? Yeah, so there are some similar strands of thought here. So my reflection on this is, so there are different kinds of devotee, first of all. It's not just that, if I love Krishna, then I'm Krishna's devotee. There are different stages of devotional service. Yeah. There's different levels of, let's say, absorption in Krishna. How absorbed are we? How, like you have a sponge, right? It can be completely absorbed in the water, completely absorbs the water, or it can just be damp on the surface, isn't it? Yeah. So we have to be absorbed in this spiritual nature. So this is what Bhagavad Gita is all about, how to live in this world, but not be of this world. Yeah. We find this in all the world religions, actually, how to be in this world, but not of this world. Yeah. And so the easiest way to be in this world, but not of this world, is to try and connect everything to Krishna. So as Archana Mataji said, that, you know, all of our activities, we're thinking of these duties separate from Krishna, isn't it? We're thinking I have to look after my kids, I have to look after the household, I have to look after the car, you know, my work responsibilities, you know, family, health, whatnot, everything else, right? And then social relations, all these kind of things, yeah. But we have to become expert, or we have to be guided expertly in how all these things are actually connected with Krishna, because in fact everything is connected with Krishna. If we see everything in the spiritual nature, there's nothing different from Krishna. The illusion or Maya, again now coming to Shashi Mataji's point, is that that we are seeing things different from Krishna. Yeah, we become very busy seeing everything as being different to Krishna. We can carve out that time for Krishna, as you said, Smita Mataji. We can carve out that time for chanting 16 rounds, following principles, for performing pujas and so on, worshipping the deity. But if that doesn't actually make us more conscious of Krishna, it doesn't make us absorbed of Krishna around our whole life, you know, then it's not fully Krishna conscious. We're not fully absorbed. We're getting absorbed at some point in the day, which is great, which is practice. We need that, you know. But as they say, we have to enjoy the good fight. You know, there's a saying like this, right? You have to enjoy the good fight, you know. So it's like a constant battle with Maya, but we have to enjoy it. Just like Arjuna, he didn't want to fight on the battlefield. He didn't want to fight because he saw everything as attached to him, in connection with himself, his body. Yeah. He saw everything from that point of view. But when he saw everything from Krishna's point of view, then he was fighting with enthusiasm. Yeah. So that's how much we have to turn our life around. We have to see everything, learn to see everything. In our life, in our personal life, in our personal dealings, in our personal responsibilities, as being connected to Krishna. So that's why it's not enough just to have scripture. In our tradition, or our Krishna conscious practice, we have to have guidance and guru. It's so important. Because just having scripture on its own, theoretically, that yes, everything is connected to Krishna, is not enough until someone shows us. How do we actually visualize everything as connected? How do we actually see Krishna in everything that we do? Someone has to personally come and show and guide us that actually the scripture says this is the principle and this is how it's applied in your life. So, and what blocks us, the block is really karma. So Shamrani Mataji mentioned this. So we've got millions and millions of lives of karma. So, you know, we started chanting Hare Krishna yesterday, then we can't expect to be perfect tomorrow, you know? So in this small space of lifetime, yeah, we have to remove so many lifetimes of karma. And by the grace of the spiritual master, said that when one takes initiation from a bona fide guru, what does the guru take in response, in return?
It takes your karma away.
The guru takes away all your karma. Yeah. So that definitely makes things a lot easier. Yeah. All your lifetimes of karma are gone by the grace of guru. Such is the power of the spiritual master. So they not only guide you, but they actually do all the heavy lifting. Guru, the Sanskrit word guru means heavy. You know, lagu means light in Sanskrit, and guru means heavy. Yeah. So we're making very little progress. We're very light on the spiritual path. The guru is making heavy progress, and they're able to carry us along as well.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, we all practicing Krishna consciousness, but is question of level of surrender.
Yeah, level of surrender makes the difference, because you could have
Now,
guru, you
level
could
of
have your
surrender
practice,
means, yeah.
but
Say
then
for
if you don't have
example,
the surrender.
yeah, level of surrender. And level of surrender, say for example, 5 devotees doing same kind of practice, activities and everything, but they don't have the same realization.
Yeah.
So surrender means how much you realize, you see.
That's right.
Because otherwise, sometimes you do you do devotional service for 20 years and 30 years, but there is no realization. It can happen sometimes.
Yeah, it becomes like a mechanical thing, becomes a ritualist.
That's right.
Like we just finish our japa, we just finish our puja,
Yeah.
we just finish our, service. But we don't actually reflect, we don't actually think deeply. We don't actually make that offering in the heart that Krishna, this is for you, this is for your pleasure, this is, I'm just simply instrument of your control.
That's why when we're chanting 16 rounds, we eager to finish it up. We're really not concentrating why we're doing that, why we have to do that 16 rounds, It's like the Guru has given. We have taken a vow with the Guru, I have to do 16 rounds. So it's just like, when would I finish up the 16 round and done it? And
So that I can get on with something else, yeah.
yeah, we are doing arti. It's like, who was saying that? Yeah, someone was saying that. You are just not concentrating on the deities and their form and all that to arti to them. You are just trying to do it. Okay, 4 to the feet, 2 to the, I would just count the numbers and finish up.
4 2 3 7 4 2 3 7.
Yeah, because I've got breakfast to make and I've got this to make. First.
Yeah.
Kids to send to school and I just, so that's all. Then turns out it mechanically we are doing it, really with love. We're not giving love for it.
Yeah. So yeah, like so there's a difference between practice and perfection. There's a difference between absorption and not having that absorption in Krishna. So one of my teachers, he says, where attention goes, energy flows. So remember that one. Where attention goes, energy flows.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So if you got your attention on your japa, yeah, then you'll be able to do it well. If you got your attention on serving the deity, then your energy will go in that direction. But our problem is, as Shashi Mataji said, we've got such busy lives. Our attention is many branched, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. Krishna wants Vyavasatmika Buddhi. He wants one-pointed attention from us. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, because what happens if you pay full attention, then what comes from attention is attraction, right? And from attraction, attachment.
Yeah, the law of attraction. Shashi Mataji?
I was just going to say and reflect on what Mataji said as well, that sometimes we are so busy in just performing the rituals that we forget the purpose of what we're performing. Rituals are there to take us to focus, to concentrate, and to take us to a certain point, or like Krishna consciousness. But we get so tied up in the rituals that we forget what the end goal is as to why we are doing things. And so then you can become mechanical about things as well. And it is kind of also like Smita Mataji said, about the Maya, because you're attached to the external world more than your internal self, you can kind of get like, oh, I just need to do this, like you said, like 16 rounds, or if you're doing fasting or you're doing offerings, like I just need to do this, or arti or whatever, but you're not absorbed in it and you're not actually taking it in. You just see it as a ritual and you perform it, but basically like try and focus on why you're performing the ritual, the purpose of it.
Yes.
I'm like doing it, and then it's more purposeful and be more meaningful and fruitful as well.
That's it. Yeah, we want our devotional service to be meaningful. We want it to be fruitful. Yeah, we want it to be engaging. Yeah, like if Arjuna was fighting this battle and he wasn't actually paying attention to what was going on, he would have dire consequences, isn't it? Yeah. So we should think of our spiritual practices as like that. We should think of it as a battle. We're battling this out with Maya. We're battling this out with illusory energy every day. You know, are we going to be in illusion or not? So yeah. So Prabhupada, he advised we have simple living and high thinking. So because our lives are very complicated, it's very difficult. But at the same time, our process is very easy. So let's take full advantage. Personally, I know when I go on these like japa retreats and japa workshops, you know, these like you read the daily meditation, some places you can get, you know, some groups are there, like you get sent a daily quote on japa. We just need to kind of, a lot of these principles are about just, you know, just taking a step outside of our life, you know, just taking a breath, you know, take a few deep breaths before we go into the practice of spiritual life. You know, actually reflect, why am I starting this? What is my intention? What is my sankalpa, my vrata? What is my purpose? Yeah. And then with that kind of fixed mind and fixed attention, then going into the service or the you know, or the worship or whatever it may be, or the japa, it really helps us to kind of get that focus again. Yeah. So maybe these are some things that might help. So yes, indeed, it's a struggle, but it again, it just comes down to our attention, consciousness, Krishna consciousness. So are we conscious of Krishna? Yeah. So really wonderful points from everyone. See.
Yes, what we see in this world, I'm talking about majority.
Yeah.
It's instead of simple living, simple thinking, and high living. It's the other way around.
Yeah.
And
So
people
these are
don't
the things we're trying to-
realize. People
Yeah.
don't realize.
These are the things we're trying to turn around in our life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're trying to go from illusion to enlightenment. We're trying to go from ritual to spiritual. Yeah. Trying to go from complicated to simple, from proud to humble. Yeah.
Because Krishna consciousness is not to give up, it's to transformation, isn't it?
Transformation, yeah, it's progressive. Yeah. And actually we'll find, even if we're just, you know, struggling by, as most of us are, admittedly, just look, like, where was I, you know, 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago in my spiritual practice? Where am I now? You know, it's quite rewarding to see the progress, even if we think, you know, this week's been rubbish, this year's been rubbish, this, you know, so many times I failed in this or that. But if we look at the progress we made over time, it's quite encouraging. Yeah. If we appreciate what the gift has been given to us that we're striving for, it's quite encouraging. So, yeah. Wonderful question, Smita Mataji. Thank you.
Well, and that's the reason we have a sadhana chart in our Sangha.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go somewhere to go to someone. If you look at your sadhana charts tells you where you were and where you are now, you know,
Yeah.
and what improvement you can do. And if you struggle, then you go for guidance.
Yeah. We've got a track record, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like if you want to, if you what's it called, like if you like on a fitness thing, or if you're like bodybuilding, you know, they keep track record, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know? Like you can push this many weights, or you can, you know, do this many laps, whatever it may be. So spiritual life is like that. It requires some coaching, coaching the mind, isn't it? Yeah.
Just need to keep morning to evening for your daily routine, what's happening, what you've been doing, and how much you've been doing, and then you look back. It does help keeping that track, that you look back. When you're down, you look back, and when you're up again, you look back again. How did I go up the ladder? And if you fall down, why did I fall down? Where is my weakness? So then you get the guidance of your weakness, why go weak. That really helps in our life. Keep the track of.
Wonderful. So let's continue reading.
Yeah. Which paragraph?
So now we're just on the paragraph beginning. So if you've just joined us while we've been discussing, we're in chapter 27, a few paragraphs in now, and the paragraph begins, "My dear Lord, I committed a great offense unto your lotus feet." And I just want to see if anyone's volunteering to read. Do we have anyone who'd like to read this paragraph? You can put your hand up. Or...
I'll do a short.
Wonderful. Please.
My dear Lord, I committed a great offense unto your lotus feet, being falsely proud of my material opulences, not knowing your unlimited power. Therefore, my Lord, kindly excuse me, because I am fool number one. Kindly give me your blessings so that I may not act so foolishly again. If you think, my Lord, that the offense is very great and cannot be excused, then I appeal to you that I am your eternal servant. You appear in this world to give protection to your eternal servants and to destroy the demons who maintain great military strength, just to burden the very existence of the earth. As I am your eternal servant, kindly excuse me.
Okay. So this is his humility, the humility of Indra coming out here. And if we remember back to the beginning of this chapter, or maybe it was the end of the beginning of this chapter, we were speaking about how Indra had to go to his guru. His guru said, "No, can't help you. You have to go to Brahma." Brahma said, "No, can't help you." And the Surabi cow from the spiritual world came to help him. And then he approached Krishna in a secluded place to offer these prayers. But do you remember we discussed this? I think it was last week. Yeah. So this was the process which he's going through. Now he's, very humbly submitting himself to Krishna in this secluded place. And then the very fact that he could even approach Krishna is because the Surabi cow took him there. Yeah. So the spiritual cow of Krishna, Surabi cow, has taken him there. And so now he's actually able to offer his heart to Krishna. Anyone else have any comments or thoughts, questions? We could continue reading otherwise. Should we go on? Okay.
My dear Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, because you are the Supreme Person and the Supreme Soul. You are the Son of Vasudeva, and you are the Supreme Lord, Krishna, the Master of all pure devotees. Please accept my prostrated obeisances. You are the
personification.
Sorry, I can't pronounce it. Thank you. Of supreme knowledge. You can appear anywhere according to your desire, in any one of your eternal forms. You are the root of all creation and the supreme soul of all living entities. Due to my gross ignorance, I created a great disturbance in Vrindavan by sending torrents of rain and a heavy hailstorm. I acted out of severe anger caused by stopping the sacrifice which was to be held to satisfy me. But my dear Lord, you are so kind to me that you have bestowed your mercy upon me by destroying all my false pride. I therefore take shelter of your lotus feet. My dear Lord, you are not only the supreme controller, but also the supreme spiritual master of all living entities.
Right. Thank you for reading that.
Thank you.
So just coming back to what I was saying a couple of paragraphs back about this concept that some people have of God is that he's very, you know, power hungry person. Yeah. Again, it just kind of shows from reading this paragraph that, you know, Indra being very powerful himself, indeed, he's the king of heaven. He misused his power, he made a great mistake, and now he's submitting himself to Krishna. And Krishna did chastise him very severely, right? But he didn't take it in a wrong way.
Mama.
He didn't take it that, you know, Krishna's got it in for me. Yeah, Krishna showed me up, and now he's like going to the secluded place and having to appeal for Krishna. But he's actually really grateful.
I know.
Everybody's watching the class. Want to sit here?
Hare Krishna, Janava.
Bye bye everyone. Say Hare Krishna. Huh?
Hare Krishna.
I'm looking forward to showing her this in a few years' time. She's much older. Okay. She's not tired to go to bed yet. So Indra's not feeling humiliated, right? He's feeling humbled. It's a very different thing, isn't it? Krishna has chastised him. So sometimes when someone chastises us or when someone gives us a good telling off, yeah, we don't always feel humbled, do we? We feel humiliated and angry and upset, right? But even though Krishna is the supreme controller, the supreme enjoyer, the supreme proprietor, when he chastises someone, they don't feel humiliated. This is the difference. See, this is the beauty of Krishna. They feel humbled, they feel honored, actually. He's feeling so grateful that, you know, he's saying here, you've bestowed your mercy upon me by destroying all my false pride. This is his prayer. He's saying, I therefore take shelter at your lotus feet. My dear Lord, you are not only the supreme controller, but also the supreme spiritual master of all living entities. So he's really appreciating that Krishna has smashed him.
Well, surrender means acceptance of chastisement.
Yeah. Because he could have just been like, oh, you know, I have to go to Krishna now and ask forgiveness. And now I feel really bad about it. You know, in a very grudging way, isn't it? That's not his mood at all. He's surrendering. He's actually surrendering his heart. Okay.
It's like I had a realization from the end of last paragraph we read.
Yes.
Says your appearance in this world is to give protection to your eternal servants, not just the servants. And then end of the paragraph, he says, as I am your eternal servant. You see, it's easy to become a servant, but it's not easy to become eternal servant.
Yeah.
Because eternal servant means a surrender.
Complete surrender.
Yeah. So in Indra's long life, he's had this experience with Krishna so many times, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Krishna has come to save him from so many dangers. Yeah. And still he's thinking, I have to be Krishna's servant again, I have to be Krishna's servant again, I have to be Krishna's servant again, after all these mistakes and dangers. Up to the point where he's trying to destroy Krishna's family. And then Krishna has to stop him personally. Yeah, Krishna has to be the obstruction for him. Krishna puts Govardhan Hill as his obstruction. Yeah. And then he realizes, actually, I'm Krishna's eternal servant. There's no getting out of this. There's no other way around. I have to always be surrendered to Krishna. So Indra is actually not considered to be a pure devotee of Krishna. So there are different, we were saying earlier, there's different kind of devotees. Yeah, not everyone is fully absorbed in Krishna. Or in the Sanskrit terms, they use the term, there's Sakama devotees and Nishkama devotees. Sakama devotee means a devotee who serves Krishna with love because they're getting something, they're being looked after, they have a material desire that's being fulfilled. So that's considered like a lower level. Of course, that's good. It's better than not being a devotee. That, you know, if we want Krishna to look after us materially, then we can worship him. But better than that is the Nishkarma devotee, which means someone who worships Krishna regardless of what Krishna does. Huh? So the highest Nishkarma devotees are like the gopis. See, Krishna, he stole their clothes, he stole their butter, he stole their hearts. Yeah, they didn't mind. So it's very different.
I've got a question then. How did Indra get the post of a demigod in that case if he's not a Nishkama devotee? Because there are others material life that could be better devoted.
How did Indra get the post of a
demigod
if he's not a pure devotee?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not a toad.
So the post of the demigods are not necessarily at all for the post of pure devotees. The pure devotees are those who are always in touch with the spiritual nature. Yeah. So generally they're all in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
The pure devotees. But the heavenly planets is not the spiritual world, it's the material world. The spiritual world is outside of the material creation altogether. So the Krishna appoints those who have material desires, those who are devoted to him, but they have material desires. He gives them material positions. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I was under the impression that even although they do have material desires and under the three modes, they still are way better than ordinary human beings, and they're pure devotees of Krishna. But obviously they are not, as we can see in Indra.
No, so they are Sakama devotees. Prabhupada mentioned this many times in Srimad Bhagavatam. The demigods of Sakama, they are good devotees. Huh?
Yeah.
For sure, they're good devotees of Krishna. But because they're material, they have these material desires, they have materialistic reasons for being devotees. Sometimes those material desires, they overcome the spiritual desires. And therefore, they find themselves in trouble from time to time. Yeah?
Yeah, thank you.
Whereas the devotees who are spiritual, they're generally in the spiritual world. Or they come with Krishna, or they come as his representatives. Yeah? So like the spiritual master, for example, he comes here just to purely perform a spiritual service and take everyone back with him to spiritual world. So that's the Nishkarma devotee, the pure devotee. It's a different category. So we, on the other hand, are practicing devotees, but we are practicing to become Nishkarma devotees. We're practicing to become pure devotees. We're not practicing to become material devotees. So we should be clear in terms of where's our goal. We're not trying to become devotees like Indra. Yeah, We're trying to become devotees like the residents of Vrindavan. That's our goal. We want to go back to Godhead. We want to go back to the place where the pure devotees are. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Apologies for the background noise.
No problem. That's not your fault.
Thanks.
Okay. So let's continue. Would anyone else like to read the next paragraph? I'm going to have Smita Mataji reading one more.
Okay. Thus praised by Indra, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, smiled beautifully and then replied in a grave voice like a rumbling cloud. My dear Indra, I stopped your sacrifice just to show you my causeless mercy and to remind you that I am your eternal master. I am the master not only of you, but of all the other demigods as well. You should always remember that all your material opulences are due to my mercy. No living entity can independently become opulent. One must be favored by my mercy. Everyone should always remember that I am the Supreme Lord. I can show anyone my favor and I can chastise anyone because no one is superior to me. If I find someone overpowered by false pride, in order to show him my causeless mercy, I withdraw all his opulences.
Right. So, in answer to Panchali's question, how did Indra become Indra? How did he get the post of Indra? Indra is actually a post, the king of heaven, the king of the sun planet, the king of the moon planet. Yeah, these are all different posts in the material world. In our Srimad Bhagavatam group, we were recently reading about this. We were recently hearing about this.
Yeah.
Indra has to perform what's known as Ashwamedha Yagya. He has to perform 100 of these sacrifices, which are very difficult to do. One of such sacrifice, you have to have tons of gold. You have to have, so much of resources. You have to have the ruling of all of the kingdoms. This is like an Ashwamedha Yagya. I won't go into a lot of details, but it's basically very difficult to perform one of these. So Indra had done 100 of these yagyas to get the post of Indra. So just like we were saying earlier, to achieve anything in our spiritual life, you have to have that focus, isn't it? We were discussing that earlier today, right? You have to have that focus, that determination. Yeah, we have to be absorbed in that goal and the practice we're doing to get that goal. So Indra's goal was to be the king of heaven. Yeah, this person who was a king before, he had this goal of being the king, not only the king, but the king of heaven. So he did all those sacrifices, 100 of them, and then he became Indra. Yeah. But then being Indra, he lost vision that actually that position was given to him, was gifted to him by Krishna. So he's remembering that here. He's saying that. So Krishna is reminding him, rather. This is Krishna speaking. You should always remember that all your material opulences are due to my mercy, because Krishna gave him all of that. Because he just performed the thing that he was supposed to do. If you do this, you get this. That's mundane religion. That's karma kanda. That's religion for good karma. If you do these things, you'll get good karma. If you do those things, you get bad karma, isn't it? So that's like mundane religion. So he had to do all his 100 sacrifices, and he got the result of that. But who gives that result? That's Krishna. Yeah. Krishna set up a system that if you want a good position in the material world, you do all these things, and then you get it. So he's the cause and the effect. Krishna is giving.
Yeah, Indra misused his power and the position instead of remaining servant.
Yes, so the whole purpose of being Indra is to serve Krishna, isn't it? This is the important point, yes. So because why have a king of heaven? What's his purpose anyway? Why have a king in any place? What's the purpose of a king? Or here in the UK we have a queen. Yes, Shashi Mataji?
To rule the kingdom.
To rule the kingdom. And what does that entail?
Looking after all the subjects.
Yeah. So everyone is the subject of the king, but actually the king is also the subject of the people. Yeah. So this is actually the glory of Lord Ram. He was actually considered the perfect king, isn't it? You know, I was just remembering Ramayana last week. We were going through Ramayana. You know, such to the extent that one person in the kingdom of Lord Ram, he was about to banish his wife, isn't it? At the end of the Ramayana, you know, he's saying, you know, you stayed away from home for some days. Now I can't accept you back here. And you know, so he was willing to throw his wife out, like just, you know, so negligently, this washerman. And actually, she was in her father's home, so it's actually no. And then he was like, well, how do I know you were in your father's home? So then he brought this matter came up to the king. This came up to Lord Ram, you know, this small matter. And this washerman was so audacious. He said that, Lord Ram, I'm not like you, that you accepted your wife after she was in the house of another man. After, you know, Ravan had kidnapped her, Lord Ram took her back. And Lord Ram answered that no, but she went through she proved herself through how do you call it? She was in the fire, you know, through the Agni. She proved her purity. She wasn't burned by fire even. Her purity, she was still so chaste. She was so chaste to Lord Ram that even by fire she wasn't burned. And this man replied that we never saw it. None of us saw it. So how can we believe you? Right? But you see Lord Ram's position. Just see the position that he took. Because the king is the subject of all of his people as well. Not just that the people are the subjects of the king. The king is a subject of all the people also. He had to separate from his wife, isn't it? Which was heartbreaking for him because for 14 years he was without her. Yeah, and all the trials and tribulations that he had to go through to get Sita back. Lord Ram had to, how do you say? He had to put her under the care of Valmiki Muni. She had to go and stay in his ashram, right? Just to prove that, you know, I'm a man of my people. Yeah. So he had to show that he was the perfect king. So this is the role of the king. Sorry, I've gone into quite a bit of detail on this. Excitement of Lord Ram Leela from last week. But where can you ever find a king like this? It's unbelievable the extents that Lord Ram went to prove that he was the servant of his people. Actually, this is the real king. People often, like, you know, debate and misunderstand this Leela, this Ram Leela, isn't it? Because they think, how could Lord Ram banish his wife after all of this? You know, what kind of person is he? But actually, he was the servant of his people. He really saw himself as a servant of his people. So like that, sorry, Prabhuji was saying that, yeah, Indra, he's forgotten that he's actually the king because he's supposed to be servant of the people. But Indra tried to be the master of his people, isn't it? They didn't give him a sacrifice, so I'll crush them. That was his attitude. Wrong attitude. Sorry, Krishna said. That's not going to work. Okay, so this is going to be explained now a little bit more in the next paragraph. Does anyone want to read the next one? Volunteer for the next paragraph.
I can volunteer, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you so much. Hare Krishna.
It is noteworthy that Krishna sometimes removes all opulences in order to facilitate a rich man's becoming a surrender soul to him. This is a special favor of the Lord's. Sometimes it is seen that a person is very opulent materially, but due to his devotional service to the Lord, he may be reduced to poverty. One should not think, however, that because he worshipped the Supreme Lord, he became poverty-stricken. The real purport is that when a person is a pure devotee, but at the same time, by miscalculations, he wants to lord it over material nature, the Lord shows his special mercy by taking away all material opulences until at last he surrenders onto the Supreme Lord.
Right. So what does everyone think about this? Any comments or questions on this section? Or even the previous ones?
I think this was a very difficult paragraph for me, at least, because it's contradicting. So you would feel that when you worship Krishna, you will get all the opulences. I mean, people, that's what we hear, that they have all the opulences. And here, Lord is taking away all the opulences to make you pure. So,
yeah. So this is what surrender means. Surrender means to accept what you need, not what you want. This is kind of the principle, actually, of surrender. To accept what you need. That means that what is in your best interest is what Krishna gives you. We have to have faith that what Krishna gives us is best for us. We have to have that faith. Not that I know what's best for me, and if I go to Krishna, he'll give it to me. That's the difference between what I need and what I want. Yeah. We have what we want, but that's not necessarily what's the best thing for us. So
Yeah,
why this is different? Sorry, Prabhu. Carry on.
Yeah, my understanding is, so whatever the opulences we have, it's come from Krishna, right?
Mm.
So we should not attach to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should make a use for daily living, but we should not attach to it, because if you attach to it, then you become an owner of the opulences, and we are not the owner.
Mm.
Krishna is the owner.
Yes.
That's my understanding.
And even Prabhupada had shown his own example. Prabhupada used to say that Krishna took it away from me, everything. If he didn't, he wouldn't be able to come and preach, do his service to his Guru.
Yeah. Prabhupada's life is just extraordinary.
Yes.
So much you can learn. Prabhupada was actually a very successful businessman.
Mm.
Yeah. And then everything was taken away from him, isn't it? Yeah. Prabhupada was into pharmaceuticals. He had a lot of pharmacies, production of medicine, and then he lost all of it gradually. It was all taken away by Krishna. Then he had nothing at all. He was practically begging. Prabhupada was practically begging. And then everything turned around when he served his Guru's order. Then Prabhupada had everything again, all opulence.
Yeah,
but he didn't have it for himself. He never had it for himself, but just the way that Prabhupada showed us that he got all those opulences because Prabhupada had so many opulent temples and disciples, and he was going all over around the world, isn't it?
And
even after he went to America, he what do you call he didn't succeed quite in a number of places, but he didn't give up.
Yeah.
And then he succeeded afterwards.
That's right.
Determination.
And then in the end, Prabhupada said, Krishna took everything away from me with 2 hands. But when he gave me with 10 hands. So I need all your help too. I can't take it with 2 hands. My 2 hands are too small. So I need hands.
I need more hands.
More hands to take that. So it's the perfect example of Srila
I was
Prabhupada.
trying to remember that, but I couldn't quite remember the thing. Yeah, Prabhupada
Yeah.
said that, isn't it? With 10 hands, Krishna is giving me. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such an amazing story. Such an amazing statement. So another aspect of this this paragraph is that one has to be kinchana. The word is kinchana. Huh? Queen Kunti, she also makes this prayer that how do I become materially impoverished? Yeah, kinchana means without material desire. Yeah. So it's not that we have to be poor to be a devotee. We don't have to be poor. We just don't have to be attached to things that we've got. Yeah. But Krishna can take everything away and still we feel like very wealthy. So this is what kinchana means. We still feel very wealthy even if Krishna takes everything away, because we feel spiritually wealthy. Yeah.
A question.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna. I joined a bit later. I have a question about taking opulences away. Could that be included as well, our loved ones, our relationships with people? Let's say if we too much attach to our partner, so to say, I love my husband too much. Like my husband becomes like the purpose of my life. That love, and that creates kind of attachment, and instead of serving God, I am serving my loved one. Maybe it could be child for the mother, maybe it could be I don't know, friend, it can be the partner. Can it also be taken away if that attachment is too strong, that relationship?
Yeah, it's an
To
interesting
find
question.
relationship with God as a main source of happiness and love.
Yes, an interesting one, because Krishna is, of course, he's a person, isn't it? Krishna is an independent person. So we cannot say like, Krishna is always going to do this or Krishna is always going to do that. Krishna does know our heart. He knows where our heart is. Yeah. And because he's a person, we can love him like a person also, isn't it? Just like we love. So we have experiences in this world of love, of attachment with persons, isn't it? All these attachments are with persons. Yeah. Because of the person, we have an attachment for the body of the person. Yeah. Actually, it's attachment of the soul. But because we see the body and we relate with the body, because it's a body of a husband or body of a friend, of a son, of a relative, but actually the attachment is for the soul. And Krishna is a supreme soul. So actually what we can learn from this is how to be attached to Krishna. How do we learn that? Because we can see these wonderful qualities in the people who are attached to, isn't it? That we love these people who are attached to, despite their imperfections, despite their, shortcomings, still they're protecting me, or still they're serving me, or still they're, friendly with me, whatever it is, whatever we appreciate about the person. We should know all these wonderful qualities, all these personal qualities they're coming from Krishna. We should know that because all these qualities are there, even in this small way, in each small, minute little soul, each and every soul is a part and parcel of Krishna. And what to speak of Krishna himself, whose very name means all attractive. Krishna is so attractive. He is the reservoir of all these pleasurable qualities. So we can have our relationships in this world, but we should also have our relationship with Krishna, the all-attractive person.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I just
We should strive. We should really strive for that relationship also. Is that okay?
It kind of guides me a little bit towards the answer. Yeah.
Shamrani wanted to.
Yeah, I just wanted to, maybe I might not be right with that, but I just want to check that. So can we also think that, as you said, we all part and parcel of Krishna, and as Mataji said, if we get attached with our family or husband, but can we see that, okay, we see everyone as a Vaishnava kind of, or do we see that way that, okay, we are serving Krishna's devotee?
Yeah.
That way as well.
So that's another way to see, yeah. Now we can, so pure devotee, they see everyone as being Krishna's servant. So they always think this person is better than me. This person is Krishna's devotee, they're better than me. They always see themselves as a servant of Krishna's servants, Das and Dasa. They always see that this person is so dear to Krishna. Krishna has given them all these good qualities. Who am I, I should serve this person, I should love this person, because Krishna is so dear to them. And they're so dear to Krishna. So Prabhupada, he had that vision. He was a first-class devotee. Shamrani Mataji also has this wonderful vision. So this is something to aspire for, actually, that we can come to this stage of just seeing everyone as being Krishna's devotee. But even if we don't have that, we can think like, all these good qualities are there because Krishna has good qualities. Therefore, this person has things which we're attracted to in this person. And there'll be things which we're not attracted to in the person as well, because we find in this world, as we say, nobody's perfect, isn't it? So that's where we can become more attached to Krishna, because Krishna is perfect.
Yeah, Haribol. Yeah, when you serve someone independently, then what happens? You put I in the front of your service, like I did this. And you become the owner of that seva, like, because you are not keeping Krishna in the center. Now, basically, everyone belongs to Krishna. So you serve someone, either devotee or non-devotee, becoming the servant of the Lord.
Yes, we should serve everyone. That's right.
Yeah. And then, if you lose that person, even your loved one, as Mataji said earlier on, then you don't regret, because it's not, he or she wasn't belongs to you anyway.
Yeah.
It was only a temporary relationship.
Your duty.
So whatever you do, even you love someone, you beloved one, but that's you do it as a duty. But keeping Krishna in the center, that is also Krishna's property. It's not mine.
Yeah.
It's like if you have something, if you lose something which not belongs to you, then you don't get pain, do you? But if you own something and lose it, then you get a pain. Oh, it was mine. I work for it. So that should be the understanding.
We can only become we can only become fully Krishna conscious if we put Krishna in the center of all the pleasures. Yeah. Sometimes we like people because they're doing something which is pleasing for us. We dislike people because they're doing something which is done in a way, even if not intentionally, is not pleasing for ourselves. So then who is the center? It's me. Like, I like this person because they did something for me. I don't like them because I didn't like what they do for me. But so becoming a devotee means that seeing everything which is connected with Krishna. Yeah. Are they doing it in a way that Krishna will be pleased? Yeah. They're doing something in a way which Krishna is pleased.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So we have to move from I consciousness to Krishna consciousness. So I did this, I did that. Instead of that, how do we say it? We say it is Krishna's mercy that this happened, or how, if you can verbalize it for us, Prabhuji.
Yes, Satyanarayan Prabhu.
Yeah. Every little thing or every big thing you do, you take it as you always think that I'm doing this because I have done that, or I got that, I achieved this because it's the Lord's mercy. So you try not to own anything, either it's a service or it's an object or anything, or even if your beloved one. Say, for example, if you lose your beloved one and you don't understand why it happened, so that's beyond your understanding, you know.
That's
And
Krishna's
you always think there is a reason behind it and I can't understand. But whatever Krishna has done for the sake of that person, for good reason.
I try and think of it in two ways. One is that we've got everything because of Krishna. I was able to do this because, Krishna has given me the body which works. I can work with my body. Krishna has given me my mind. I can work with my mind. Krishna has given me intelligence. I can work with intelligence. Everything Krishna has given us is a gift. So we should know everything we're able to do is because Krishna has given us the gift. So sometimes we forget that part. And sometimes we forget the other part, that the reason I was doing all this, we may think, oh, Krishna has given me all these things. And then we go and do something which is not for Krishna's pleasure, right? Or we may, like sometimes, we do we'll go and buy some, I don't know, ice cream because we like that flavor. And then, we have to offer it to Krishna, so we offer it and, enjoy the ice cream, whatever it is. So we forget that we're doing it for Krishna. All these things we're doing is supposed to be for Krishna. Yeah. Just example. So, we may buy a house because we want the house to be a certain way. We take a big example. Krishna has given us all the resources, all of the facilities to put into the house, but we make the house in such a way that we are enjoying it, not the way that Krishna is enjoying it. So then we forget the result is for Krishna. Either we forget the cause is for Krishna, or we forget the result is for Krishna. And that's where the I comes. That's where the difference with the I and Krishna is. Because of these two things. Who is coming from and who is going to. He's coming from Krishna and he's going to Krishna. Sometimes we think he's coming from me and going to Krishna. Or he's coming from Krishna, but he's going for me. He's going to be for me.
Even when you wake up in the morning, first thing you do, give credit to Krishna. Otherwise, people do give up their bodies when they are sleeping, aren't they? So you always have another day, right? And you take it as a bonus and give credit to Krishna.
Yeah.
Even something I like to say, it sounds a bit funny. Even when you open the bowl regularly, just give credit to Krishna. Even if you pass the urine, give credit to Krishna. Because otherwise what happens? Yeah, where you end up.
Yeah.
Wow.
We always talk about it's cloudy and sunny, right? Okay? But we never give credit to Krishna when it's sunny.
Thank you.
So means what I'm trying to say, every moment and everything you see, and that's what give credit to Krishna. So it's not, that means you removing your I and we, like.
So giving credit and giving gratitude to Krishna.
Yeah. And in that way, you are connecting with Krishna every moment because you are keeping him in the center.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost anything. It's just a question of consciousness. It's amazing. It's a great thing, Srila Prabhupada has given us.
Yeah. Happiness is free.
Yeah. It's all we have to digest, this thing, and put it in the practice.
So let's come to a close for our discussion here, because we're quite over time now. So I really appreciate everyone's contributions and questions this evening. A lot of enlivening discussion. Hope you've all found it very valuable in your own lives. I certainly have. I always get so much out of these meetings myself. This is why I love to do them. So I really appreciate all your contributions again. And we'll now finish with one round of japa. And in the recent weeks, we've been praying for the devotees of Mayapur who are going through trialing situation now. Of course, in India overall, coronavirus is spreading so much, and of course across the world, everywhere, isn't it? Well, devotees and people we know and love struggling with the coronavirus or other aspects of life. So we want to pray to Krishna for the health and well-being of the devotees in Mayapur.
Hare
By
Krishna,
offering one
everybody.
round of japa.
See you all next week.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai. So please have your japa beads ready. And we'll chant together. So if you can keep your microphone on, so we can hear you all chanting. And you can keep your volume down if you want to just obviously hear yourself chanting as well. And when you finish your chanting, then put your hand up on the screen or in the box, the hand raised sign. And then we'll conclude after that. So we're reading a lot about having gratitude for Krishna, isn't it? So we should be chanting in that mood as well. Gratitude, appreciation. Yeah. And of course, Krishna has given us the association of all these wonderful devotees from the Dham. So we can at least be grateful for that association of devotees. And we want to keep having their association. So let's begin. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Hare
Hare
Rama Hare
Hare,
Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare
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 Krishna,
Rama
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Rama,
Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Rama
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Rama,
Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare
Hare
Rama
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna.